Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Kripesh Advani's show. Today I'm at the new setup at Affiliate World Conference in Bangkok 2023 and I have this amazing setup with an amazing speaker from Affiliate World Conference. I know you are a Midjourney expert. You just totally nail it. You are nailing it on LinkedIn, you are nailing it on YouTube, and you are speaking all over the place about AI, about Midjourney. My audience wants to know all about it. Can you please give us a quick brief intro about who you are and what do you do?
Of course, man. Thank you for having me. This is awesome. This conference has been out of control. So it's cool, man. My name is Rory Flynn. I am the founder of Systematic AI. Essentially, we are just a business that is an operational AI agency, meaning that we look into people's businesses, we find operational holes, and then we plug those holes with AI. So Midjourney, of course, is a subtle obsession of mine. Some would say, but it works in so many different functions of business, especially small businesses and things. These tools that we have now have never been more accessible to the average person. It's not like you need to be a Fortune 500 company to have access to the most amazing technology that we've been introduced to since the internet. So, yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. If you can't tell, it's pretty much screaming from the rooftops at every single chance I can get.
Got it. And for how long are you in this industry of AI?
So I've only been doing this for about, let's just call it a year now at this point. I mean, I think around last November, December was when really took one leap in ChatGPT and was like, what the hell is this? You know, what else is out there? If is this the only thing? And then it was, that opened Pandora's box and I was like, whoa, and I come from a digital marketing background. So, working in the email marketing, paid media space, it was just like we are so far behind if we are not using this stuff, and everyone is going to lap us. So we need to get on this stuff ASAP. Like, don't even think about trying to have a long learning period or a long ramp up. It's like, let's just go. We got to make this happen now.
So, for people who don't know about AI, like just for the beginners, can you give us a quick brief about what AI is, what Midjourney is? Just a quick short brief.
Sure. So if you're not familiar with Midjourney, essentially it's a powerful image generator. But what that means is really you can type in some text and it'll generate a picture. So, it's not as hard as it sounds. It's pretty easy. There's definitely a learning curve, but for something like Midjourney, there's so many different uses for it. You don't have to be a power user of Midjourney to get good results. You don't have to be super talented as a designer to get good results. You can plug little holes. Sometimes it's really easy the things you need depending on what it is. So if you're building a website, if you're building an email, if you're building a blog post, if you're building something like that, sometimes maybe you just need like a neon gradient or something like that to lay some text over and then put it in there. It used to be you needed a designer to do that, or you need to figure out how to build stuff in Photoshop. You can just type 3 or 4 words in, now press enter, and it comes out in 30 seconds. So the opportunity for scaling businesses with tools like Midjourney is wild, and it's just super easy to utilize, and it can be really a game changer for any business that wants to get creative with it.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. But what about copyright laws that exist? Like, let's say if I want to create a picture of a Spider-Man, I'll just enter Spider-Man in New York. It
Yeah.
will give me something. So,
So copyright, again, this is definitely a hot button issue around it. Now, my understanding when it comes to the copyright portion of this is that Midjourney says that you are covered under their terms and conditions. I don't necessarily believe that. So I'm pretty careful with what I put out into the marketplace when it comes to content side of stuff. I take way more risk there. But if I'm doing anything commercially, I'm not going to do anything that has any sort of copyright potential against it. So also I'm using tools like reverse image search when I'm doing anything commercially or for marketing purposes. So again, what you generate can be pretty close to some images that are already out there, because it's pulling images from all over the internet. We don't know how Midjourney was trained, what data it was trained on. So when you use a reverse image search, sometimes you can find, it's like, oh, I see where this came from. Like it's interesting enough to see it. So I'm definitely doing that. And the good thing about using Midjourney, I mean, once you push send, you get 4 image selections, and you can rerun that as many times as you want. So if something is close to something else, just don't use it. Just don't use it. Redo it. Regenerate another image. I know there's a lot of, from my time in the design world, there's a lot of lawyers out there that are reverse image searching, looking for their clients' work to try and find somebody to sue. So just know that can happen. But on the other side of it too, on the U.S. copyright, that's I'm not a lawyer again, but this is my understanding of it. Like basically anything you generate that is fully created by AI cannot be copyrighted. So essentially, whatever you create becomes for use. And that being said, if you're going to utilize it, consider it basically your own personal stock photography that anyone else can use. So it's again, there's definitely some I don't want to say downside, but there is some risk to manage with it. But again, I still think the upside is way bigger than what that downside is.
I think you explained it beautifully that if you are generating these images, have a proper reverse imaging search before using it in your content.
Sure. And the other thing I would say too here is from a because this is of course this is really important. When people are prompting, if you're following a lot of different influencers or whoever online who are building their prompts or sharing their prompts, you'll see this in a lot of them where it goes in the style of like it's like a category like in the style of Wes Anderson, in the style of Michael Bay, in the style of said artist. To me, if you can do that for personal use and your own fun. Like I'm not going to play in that sandbox. Like if I think of if someone's going to come after me for legal action and they're going to dive through everything, get back to the source, and they get to my prompt and I use someone's name, right? You don't have to do like something like Michael Bay, right, or Wes Anderson, right? People love that style. They love that look, that feel. You can go on ChatGPT. Essentially, you can ask what kind of compositions he uses, what kind of information or what kind of technical equipment he uses, what type of color scheme they use. You can take those building blocks and build whatever image you want off that. So you don't have to use their name. But I personally don't like doing that. So I don't want to use any artist names or even like again open myself up for any sort of risk. So I instruct my team.
That's a good point
Yeah.
actually, because I have heard many people say that on internet that use this specific
Mhm.
reference, use that artist name, but you say that that might affect the copyright or something like that. But can you give us a examples of how to use advanced prompts since we are on the topic of styling?
Yeah.
So can you give us some examples that we can use to create some amazing images?
Yeah, so there's a lot of good techniques here. I think the most underutilized aspect of Midjourney is image prompting. So if people aren't familiar with image prompting, what that is essentially you put an image into Midjourney as almost inspiration, and then you add a text prompt to it. So it takes the image itself, and then you can almost build off that image or make that image a little bit like more diverse. So I tend to use this, and like if you want an advanced process here, I generate a lot of images in Midjourney. So I think about it in like a two-step process, right? Like you can generate one singular image in Midjourney, but oftentimes if you want something to be diverse and like pretty intricate, like you have to put a lot of stuff in the prompt, and oftentimes Midjourney won't hit on every single element of your prompt. So sometimes I'll just break it into two and think about it. I'm like trying to create a meal here, right? I'm taking all the ingredients, trying to make a meal. So I'll take an image, just one base image. Like for example, maybe I want to have like a pattern, like a really intricate pattern on a shirt, but I want the model to be, in Bangkok, in like a crazy like bustling area and like all this other intricate detail. I'll create the pattern separately. So I'll create this pattern so it'll be a super intricate, cool looking pattern, just the pattern, and then I'll create the image of the person in Bangkok, and then I'll blend it together with an image prompt. So then it'll take that basically that pattern and it'll put it on the shirt. And then it's like, okay, now I got exactly what I want, because if you tried to prompt that, it would take you forever to get exactly what you wanted. So you can do that. But there's also, I think when it comes to understanding how to get the most out of the tool, it's just understanding the tool at a granular level. Because once you know the basic functions of it, you can really start to build, knowing things like parameters. That's really important when you start looking at it. Aspect ratio, stylized, chaos, even the weird parameter. Image weight is a really big one. So if you're doing image prompting, the image weight parameter, essentially you can put more weight on the image portion or on the text portion, so you can even vary it there. So it's like knowing the tool probably trims like 90% of the time that you spend on their failing, which I've done a lot of. So
Got it, got it. Now, another question that I have is Midjourney the best right now, or should we consider using other platforms as well? Dolly 3, Stability, Diffusion, and there are many right now.
yeah, there are. And I think it's all personal preference, right? Like I like to think of Dali as probably the Canva to Midjourney's Photoshop, and then Stable Diffusion is even a step beyond that. Now, for me, it depends on what you want. Like I'll use different tools for different things. Dali is very good at prompt coherence, meaning that whatever you prompt, it's gonna come out. So you put everything in your prompt, whatever you put in there, that's what Dali is gonna produce. Now the quality might not be as good as Midjourney. That's what you sacrifice in Midjourney is some of the coherence for the much better look. So I think it's personally pretty like Dali's very easy to use considering now that it's native within ChatGPT. Um, but Midjourney is really just to me like a step above that, and then really where it goes from there is Stable Diffusion. Stable Diffusion is like the open AI to ChatGPT, so you can build products off of that. And you can custom train whatever you want on there. It's really, but you need a little bit more technical capability. You need a little bit more processing power too, from a hardware standpoint. So I think you're going to see people move towards Stable Diffusion as they start to understand more of it, start to understand more of like this diffusion model style art. There's just so much capability there for personalizing each individual business's own pathway. So it's there's some other tools too. If anyone's not if anyone is looking for some free stuff, Leonardo is really good. Musavir is another good one. Those two I've had really good results on, and I think they're pretty user friendly and they're free. So that's always a good thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What are some of the misconceptions that people have in AI and in using Midjourney?
I think one of the biggest ones is that everything needs to be a finished product. Like I think that's what a lot of people are looking for, where it's like, I want to generate ads. I just want Midjourney to do the whole thing. Like it's not that easy. And like I wouldn't tell anyone to think about it that way. Like you're just finding ways to make to be about 80% more productive. That's how I see it. It can take you 80% of the way. You still have to do 20. But like something like that, like if you're going to build a website, you're going to build a landing page, you're building an email, right? Maybe it's just you're generating the image in Midjourney, then you go and layer in the text, things like that. But just think about what it would take to actually design that whole space, and then or just like in general, if you didn't have a tool like this. So I think everyone's looking for that finished product. It just doesn't exist yet. It will probably get there. I mean, I'm sure these tools were only like really a month or a year into the explosion. They existed years before this, but they weren't as user friendly as they are now. So give this another 6 months to, 5 years. 5 years, I don't even know what's going to happen. Yeah, I don't even know. I can't even explain how to extrapolate because there's a new development in the space every 2 weeks. So it's I think using it for small jobs, using it for little things. Like I said, even if it's a background, you want to create some sort of layer textured background to layer some text over. Very easy. You want to just add a little piece, a little flair to your website. Oh, I need an icon. Okay, I can just create it in Midjourney. Cool. Like simple like things like that, where it doesn't have to be like this full scale production. So it's just getting creative with the tool. I mean, that's as easy as it can be.
So basically, don't expect it to be a finished product.
Yeah, don't expect it to be I mean, you can get it there.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. You can get a finished product, but I think everyone thinks that they can come in day one and get finished product. It's just like anything else in life. You got to put in some hours to understand how the things work. Then once you do, then you can do whatever the hell you want with it. But I think a misconception for beginners is like I just type in, "Give me an ad," and bang, there's an ad. It's like no, it doesn't work like that. Not yet, at least. Not yet.
Right. Are people making money from Midjourney right now or designing AI images?
Oh yeah, 100%. So, I mean, there's a million different ways to do it, right? Like I've seen a lot of people that are, again, this is when it comes to, we're talking about smaller business people that are entrepreneurs, just like taking things and running with it. Like I've seen people selling, patterns online. I've seen people designing t-shirts with it. It's very easy to do small things like that. Again, it's all fair. It's all free use though. So you can't copyright it unless you actually edit it yourself and like do some significant editing to it. But yeah, there's a ton of different ways. I've seen, one of the buddies that that I'm good friends with on LinkedIn, he's now building branded stock photography for businesses. So a business, instead of having to go get a photo shoot, maybe it's a B2B marketplace or something in the B2B space. They don't want to go get a photo shoot and just have all these like crappy looking stock photos. He's basically taking it and being like, I can get your business a whole branded set of images And now you can utilize these in perpetuity. Plus, then I'll build a prompt library off the back end of it, so you have a consistent look and feel that you can generate time after time after time. So again, there's no real end to it. I mean, email. We used it to do email marketing. I mean, it was very easy for us in my previous agency for us to slot right into email marketing because it's small format, right? You don't have to worry about upscaling everything too big. Email marketing typically lives. I don't know if anyone really goes back and checks their promotion inbox after one day. I definitely know no one's going back 2 weeks and checking that promotion inbox. So, email is a very short lifespan, about 8 to 9 hours, really. And you can fit your message so much better with an image from Midjourney than you can with just your product photography. So if you had soda can, like a soda brand, right? And all you're talking about in your emails is just sales and whatnot and this thing and that thing. Instead of just putting up a product shot, instead of just putting up an image of your product shot that has no relevance to your message because that's the only image you have. Now you can be a little bit more targeted in your approach. Like maybe you're talking about an active ingredient in there, and you can actually go and pull it out. Like for example, we had a salad dressing company, and one of the active ingredients was avocado oil. We didn't have any pictures of avocado oil, but we can generate that on Midjourney now and put that in there. It works with the story better, so we can be a little bit more tailored towards what we're doing. And then even something like on email marketing, I like to use it as a great example. You can't buy off email, right? You cannot buy off of email, so you have to. It's a medium. You come through and you're just getting redirected to the website. So make it flashy, make it sexy, make people click to get to the next point in their the next point in their journey. So yeah, it's just I'm going to say this like 5 times. Just like getting super creative with the tool. Just if you start thinking about it in terms of what can I do with it in every single day? Like how can it solve a problem? Where are my problems? Whatever's design related, just think about that as a solution and you'll find an answer.
So are people actually making money just using Midjourney to create graphics? Like if I want to have a T-shirt for, let's say,
Oh yeah.
so I'll create images from Midjourney, and then I'll use it on my T-shirts or mugs or something like that.
Super easy. Yeah, I've seen that. I've also seen a lot of people that are selling wall art, but it depends on you can start to, maybe there's people that like minimalist photography, or there's people that like, more high saturation style photography. Like you can go, the good thing is you can go on things like Etsy, you can go on things like, Amazon and check like what the highest selling items are, what the most popular items are. And then you can go and recreate almost a version of that. Now there's enough upscalers on Midjourney to sell art so that it can be printed at a larger volume or a larger scale. You can build an art store you can build a print on demand store. You can build a print on demand store for, t-shirts and things like that. So again, I think it's just from the copyright standpoint, knowing that someone could take that design and use it whenever they wanted to, because you can't necessarily just throw your name on it and then it's yours. So that's just the one thing, that's just the caveat there. But again, if you don't care, you don't care, right? And it's going to make you money. I think it's a quick path for you to start generating cash.
Does it scare you? Does AI scare you? I like to ask this question from 2 different perspectives. From the perspective of an artist, I have put hours of my work. I put my life behind creating that perfect art. I'm training for that art since last 5 years, let's say. And from the perspective of a human being, does it scare you that your images can be used? Does it scare you that your photos can be used? Deep fakes are being done right now. So does that scare you, or where do you think that is going right now?
It does scare me a little bit, just because I know what's possible. I know how easy it is, right? Like I know that I can generate an avatar of myself. I can go in HeyGen, I can upload a video of myself and basically create an AI avatar. I can create a script with another, software. I can create my voiceover with another software, and I can basically produce a digital clone of myself. So that's all available to me. I can't imagine what really good and talented people can do, with this kind of stuff. It's gonna be real reality blurring. So yes, I am a little bit concerned about that. I think more so from a societal standpoint of what's going to be fed out through social channels and things like that. It's going to be a lot of confusion. But this is my opportunity for a public service announcement. I think that's why it's important to know this stuff about AI, to know the tools, to know what the capabilities are, so you can recognize it. Like I look at ads now, and I'm like, that's AI. I can read copy and say, oh, ChatGPT did that. I could look at an image, oh, that's Midjourney. I know what's real and what's fake because I'm just in it. But your average person doesn't. So knowing the tools, knowing what the capabilities are, you can start to decipher this stuff, and it won't be as big of a shock, when all this stuff starts to really, really become indifferentiable from reality. But the artist piece of it too, like I say this to everyone, I'm really more so of an optimist about everything here because I think what AI is doing is taking away a lot of the robot tasks that we really don't like, and it's opening us up to be creative. So, the less time I can spend filling out a spreadsheet and the more time I can spend creating art and images for my brand, right? Like that's what I'm hoping to do. But the people that are artists, maybe you're a graphic designer, I wouldn't this might not be, for illustrators. I mean, in a sense, like, just a regular sketch artist, but the designers are the most apt to use the tools. I think anyone that is a 3D artist, that is a graphic designer, photographers, even videographers, you can show up and use these tools day one and be really good because you know what good art is and how to compose it. And that's basically what you're doing. You're just saying it in words to a tool like Midjourney. But your average person isn't going to know what high contrast is, saturation, like what an asymmetrical composition is, things like that. You can put that in the prompt from day one as a designer. You're already 30% ahead of everybody else. Plus, you know how to format things to make it look good. So, the best people that I've found on here are designers. They know that it's a tool to amplify their productivity. And even watching what some of the more advanced stuff happens in AI, the real creative stuff, it's all designers because they understand the process. Like they know what it takes to get from point A to point B without the tools. So now they're just injecting the tools into the process, and it's becoming wildly insane.
To
So
that point, sorry to cut you off.
yeah,
Uh, I have seen many designers on Twitter like going against it. Like they are claiming that Midjourney have used their images without their permissions.
To me, it's get on the bus or get off because I'm assuming those designers didn't complain when Photoshop came out. You know what I mean? It's like we're gonna get new tools at all standpoints of life. Like because we had horses doesn't mean we couldn't have cars. It's like I hate to be like an a-hole about that, but I mean you can't stop it. The Pandora's box has been opened. You can either fight it or not. I liken it to social media back in the day. All the people that were like, yeah, I'm not going to get on Facebook now. I'm not getting on this. Well, this is social media, this and that. It's like those are the same people that were sending you Farmville invites on Facebook 2 years later. You know what I mean? It's just like get on the boat or get on the ship. Like it's sailing. We got to go because it's not turning around. You can't stop it. I can't stop it. Global leaders can't stop it, obviously. So it's here. We might as well use it to make our lives easier. That's kind of how I see it.
That's the only option right now, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, you can fight it. I mean, you can try, but I mean, you're going to get lapped because because it's not like all designers are unified in saying we're not using it. It's like, okay, all the designers that are really talented are just taking it. All it's done is raise the floor. That's how I like to put it. It's like everyone can do like this baseline of design now. You don't have to be good. So it raised the floor, but still the people that are exceptionally talented are the cream will rise to the top. They just got better tools to use now. So it's like I use all these stupid analogies. I apologize, but it's like to me, it's like giving someone off the street in like an F1 car, right? Like if I gave an average person, if I just walked out there and gave someone a F1 car and said, "All right, let's go win Monaco," be like, "Okay, cool." Now, if I give a professional driver an F1 car and say, "Let's go win Monaco," like they're gonna win every single time. It's the tool; it doesn't matter. Like the playing field is just the floor has been raised. So yeah, I think it's just kind of a really bad idea to not consider the tools at least or know how they work.
Right. What's the future do you think look like with these tools advancing so much and like with the data we are feeding it, it's advancing at an exponential scale right now.
Uh,
What do you think the future holds in Midjourney and AI imaging?
well, I think it's going to move towards video. I think we're going to have a lot more video. Like it's a standard progression of everything seems like over time, right? It's like it starts with writing text, then it goes to images, then it goes to videos, right? So then it goes to anything else, AR, whatever. I just think we're going to go from image to video pretty quick here. Runway's exploding, Peak is exploding. Midjourney is going to get into the video game because I think that's where everyone wants to get to at a certain point, right? Like the images are very good and they have their uses, but people also need video. I think that's going to larger conversation too. You're going to see a lot of look on Runway TV right now. You got people producing full scale digital production or AI productions like films. I think you're just going to create a whole different generation of creators, and I'm here for it. I love it.
And I'd like to come back to the point of deep fakes,
Yeah.
like because now it's getting so powerful, like images being used, and like recently in India, there was one case where our PM voice and his photo was used, and there's one very famous actress in India. So her face was swapped with someone else, which was not in a very good manner,
Mhm.
and that went viral on social media and all the websites out there. So after that, India is like discussing the laws and they are putting the ban on social media and uh, putting some fine out there. But coming back to the point, what do you think about uh, deep fakes being generated so rapidly right now?
I think we're always going to have. I think we're always going to have this issue now that AI is upon us. So I think the like as my responsibility almost being in this space and talking about it all the time. I want to show people. It's a double edged sword, right? Because I want to show people how to do it so they know the possibilities and they know what can happen. But also, then probably someone will take that and go do it, and you have a situation like that. So I feel conflicted about it, but also I feel like it's better to know how it can be done, how easy it is, and what this looks like. Because there's a lot of scams out there, and I think it's just better that people can start to recognize this stuff. It's like the same way when you started to understand that Facebook was retargeting you and like using your data, then you're a little bit more conscious about what you do on there, right? Like versus when it was just, why am I getting all these ads every single day from all things I looked at? I don't know how this works. And now you do know how it works. So you're a little bit more conscious, right? So I think that's kind of the direction in. I think it's very scary that this can happen because the just one wrong viral video, like you said, can influence an entire society. So it's just I think knowing that the information needs to be out there of how it can be done and like why it's being done and how it can be weaponized essentially. So
Totally agree with you.
yeah.
Now, since we are here at Affiliate World Conference, you were a speaker here, and I absolutely love this conference. I am attending this conferences since last 2 years. I would like to know your opinion about this Affiliate World Conference. How was your experience as a speaker, and what's the best part about this conference so far?
Man, this place is awesome. I love it here. The people are the best. Like anyone that's here, you get the speakers are awesome. They are so damn cool. But everyone in the audience is here. Someone is making money in the weirdest way that I've ever heard of. I leave here and I can't sleep for like 6 weeks because I'm like I am so far behind or just not thinking about business the right way. So it's mostly an eye opener every single time I'm here. I love it. I love the people. I love the staff. It's the best energy of a conference I've been to, and by far and away the most like at home I feel in terms of where I'm at with my business. So whenever if anyone's looking for somewhere where they feel like included or like just a part of a community, like this is that spot.
Any one thing that you have learned from this conference? Anyone highlight so far?
Yeah, I think there's. I mean, it's every single day that I'm talking to someone in the green room or I'm talking to someone back, on the floor. I love that people take what I say in my presentation and they come up and ask questions about putting their own spin on it because I'm like, I've never thought about it that way. So every single time it's like applying it to a different business model. Maybe I haven't worked in that business, that business function before, something, SEO or, Google or PMAX campaigns, things like that. Like, they're taking their thought process and applying it to what I said. And then I'm like, okay, I want to problem solve for you now. So it's something new. I have a really hard problem, if you can't tell, like keeping on focus. So it's like any idea that comes to me, it's like I got to go work on this now. I want to go figure out this problem now. So yeah, I didn't know what affiliate marketing was really last time until I was here. I knew what affiliate marketing was. I didn't really know, until I got here. So I've just been finding anyone I can, being like give me the sauce. Like, let me know what this is about. Like, how are you guys doing this? What does this even mean? Like, how I didn't know anything until I came here last time, and now this whole world has been exposed to me that exists, and I'm like mind blown. So, yeah, I could write a book on what I've learned here.
Can you describe this conference in one word?
Insane.
Insane.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's sick. I love it here. Everyone should come. This is not a paid promotion.
Right. Thank you so much, Rory. Thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah,
It
man.
was really
Awesome. Thank you for having me. That was really cool.